Alright guys, so in the last episode we successfully created a booking using the Stripe webhook. So if I go to my Sanity studio, you can see the booking that was made. So in case if you just clicked on this particular video, I will urge you to watch the previous video before watching this one so that you have a better context of what we are doing. Alright, so now that we have all this, what we want to do now is to create this bookings page. We're going to create this account page sooner. So in order to do that, we'll go back to our VS Code, and right under this pages directory, we'll create it like so by saying bookings.astro. I'll bring in the code fence like so. Then let's just for now bring in the layout. So we can say layout, and this will come from Astro. So we can import it like so. Get rid of this, and the title this time should be, we'll say bookings, and inside this let's just create a div, give this a class of padding top and bottom of 32, and inside this we just add container class with the text of center. So, and inside this we'll create another div again, give this a class of mb8, and inside this we'll pass in the h1, and I'll call this your bookings, and for the styling this will be font of 700, MB of 2, and a text of 3XL. Then let's just add a subtext that just says, here are your available bookings, like so. So now if we go back to our UI, we can come here and click on bookings, and we should see these bookings like so. So basically on this bookings page, we just want to fetch a list of bookings for a particular user. So the first thing to do is to come here, and let's first of all destructure the user ID from the astro.locals.auth, and since this is a server component, we can have access to the user ID like so. So if I go back to my studio, we're basically using the ID from this to check if it matches the ID on this user field in this booking document. So we can now come right here and say const bookings, and we just await, and we'll say sanity client, and let me just quickly import that. So we say import, okay, sanity client from sanity client. So we can pen the dot fetch, and we can now pass in our grok query. So we'll pass it like so. So before we start querying our booking schema, remember I said earlier in this series that we no longer need an external types file. So we no longer need this types file anymore, because let me just get rid of it right now. We no longer need it because Sanity gives us types for any document that we create, but we have to run the typegen command in order for the types to be populated. Currently, I think we just have just the room and the user. So in order for us to have the booking schema, we need to close this, and let me just comment this out so we don't get an error, and I'll save. Then I'll go to a new tab. So I'll say npm run type gen. And just for context, remember we added the type gen to our scripts. So basically, we're just running two commands. So the sanity schema extract and the sanity type generate. So let's give this a minute in order for it to generate the types that we'll need. Alright, so as you can see, it extracted the schema first, then it generated the types for us. So we can clear our screen now, and if I check the sanity types, we should now see the bookings, hopefully. So I guess I will just search for it. Let me do that again. Say bookings, or booking rather. So if I go up, you can see the booking right here. And this is just what we want. So I can close this out and I'll uncomment this. And what I will do now is just to pass in the booking like so. So for some reason it's not giving me the suggestions. I think it's because we closed the file. So let me just open it like so. Let me try that again. It's still not giving me the suggestions. So you know what, I'll just close it out and I will manually do it myself. So we'll say import type, then we'll say booking from sanity types. All right, so as you can see, we have all the bookings right here. Now we can just come here and say asterisk, and should I accept this? Let me just accept this and quickly run through it. So for this, we're not going to pass the user ID straight up. We're just going to pass it at the end. You can choose to do this, but I just like doing it a different way. So I will just get rid of it, and basically we are just making sure that the type that we're querying from is the booking schema and the user reference matches the user ID. So the user dot underscore ref is basically the ID. So we're checking if it matches this user ID, and let's also check if the status is not equals to cancelled. So that booking is not cancelled, like so. So if all these conditions are met, then we can now, let me bring this like so. Obviously get the ID, the reservation ID, the check-in, and so the checkout as well. The user, we want to grab some details from we'll also grab the name from the user document as well, or the user reference. So grab the name, don't need a comma there. Then for the room, we also want to grab the name and the image. And again, you don't need to do exactly what I'm doing. You can just, like I always say, you can just make it match your own specific needs. And let's also bring in the status, the adults, the children, number of room, total price. And I think we also need the created at. So let me just add that. So say created at. Let me just add the comma here, and now we can now reference that user ID like so. All right, cool. So I'm also thinking that we should add like an order so that everything goes from the check-in and descends downward. So you can do that in Sanity. So we can just add a condition here and say order should be check-in descending. Okay, so I think I'm good to go with this. So what we just want to do is to map over this booking. So underneath, or rather inside this container class, can say if the booking dot length is it bookings or yeah, bookings? If the bookings or length, and for some reason I'm not getting the type safety that I want, and I don't know why is that. So let me do that again. So bookings dot length is equals to 0. Then we want to do something else. We also want to do another thing. So for now, I'm not going to accept this. I'll just add a D for now. So we say there is a booking. Right, for this, you can just bring in a div as well and just say let's just style this a bit. So for the class, this will be a py of 16. Text will be center. Then we also have an h3. For some reason my PC is just slow today, so this will be no. Oh yeah, say you have no bookings. Let's just accept this. And for the styling, we'll say MB of 4, text XL. Then the font should be, just set it to medium. Then we can add an A tag that will basically take us back to the rooms page. So let's just say browse rooms. And for the styling for this, we just say class should be bg of primary, margin top of 6, set it to inline block. Also set it rounded to mdpx to 6, py will be 2, and the text will be white, like so. Then before I save this, I'm still seeing this error. So it says property length does not exist on type booking. So if we go to the sanity types and just go through it, everything looks good. So let's go through it again. Okay, so this should be an array. So my bad, it was just reading it as a single file, so it's supposed to be an array. So this error is gone now. So if we save, we should get there's a booking because we used this account to create a booking. So let's allow these guys to load. All right, so there's an error, and if I check my terminal quickly, okay, expected curly brackets. So I think this means we didn't add a comma somewhere. So let's just quickly go through this. Okay, so there's no comma after the children. So if I save now, yeah, so that fixes it. And you can see that there's a booking for this user. If I sign in with another account, we'll get this or we'll see this message. This div or this component will be rendered. Okay, so since there's a booking, we just want to map over that booking and display it. So I'll just give this a class of space y6 to add padding in between. Then inside it, we just map over the bookings. So say bookings dot map, and for each of the booking, what we want to do is to put everything inside an a tag. So we'll just take this one and I'll get rid of this. And the ref should be dynamic because we want to go to, by the time we click on it, we'll be directed to the booking details page of that particular room. So say forward slash booking slash $, then we'll say booking dot reservation ID, like so. Then inside it, we'll have a div. This we have a class of PG foreground. Text will be background, should be relative. Max width will be 800 pixels. Should be center as well. Give it a border radius of around 2XL. On medium devices and up will be displayed flex, and medium devices and up again give it a weight of full. Then on medium devices and up items will be center. And inside the div, we'll basically render something. So let's just bring the image first. So in order for us to do that, we'll first of all check if there's an image. So say booking dot room dot image. So if there's an image, we want to render out something. So let me do this again. Yeah. So I will just accept this and I will wrap this inside the URL for component from Sanity. So I'll put it like so. And I will have to import it manually. So before I import it, let me add the URL method. So I need to go back to the top and say import URL for image from @/lib URL for image. I think this is the path. All right, so the path is correct. But we're still getting some. Okay, so this is undefined. So let me add a check here and also check here as well. Then we're still getting some errors and say property image does not exist on type ref type weak. So if we go back to the types again, so we say sanity the types. Okay, I guess I can see where the issue is coming from. So since the room is used as reference, we don't have direct access to the fields in the room because it's referenced. So what I'm thinking that we'll do is that we'll go back to the top and we'll have to bring in our own types, but we'll still be dependent on this. So what I will just do is to use type, not interface. So we use type and say let's just call this one first booking. Then I will omit the room. So basically if I go back to the sanity types, so we just want to omit this room out from this booking and types and pass in our own structure that we'll need. So we're omitting this out, but we're still referencing it as well. So I went to the wrong file. Okay, so this will be booking. Then yeah, we just need to pass in what we want to omit. And let me just complete this. And we use the %, like so, and I'll save this. So now we can pass in the room. And right here, I will just make this optional so it doesn't throw any error of some sort. So what we'll just do here is to pass in all what we'll need. So for now, let's just use the name and the image. If we need any other thing, we just pass it across. So this will be asset and _ref, say string, like so. So I'll save this and I will change this one to the first bookings. And I feel that this should be singular. So since I'm just omitting it, let's just make it singular. And if we go back to this, you can see that those errors are gone. So we can just come here and style it properly. So going to add a border radius to the top right of 2XL and to the top left as well of 2XL. Object will be cover on medium devices. The size will be 180 pixels. On medium devices, rounded will be top right will be none for the border radius, and the bottom left will be 2xl. So we can save this one now. Underneath this, we'll bring in another div. So then we'll give this a class. And this will be P for all around. Then medium devices and up, which will be 4. Medium devices and up again. We'll remove the padding for the top and bottom. Then inside this div, we'll bring in another div. So say div. So then this we have a class of MB2. The medium devices width will be 4. And inside this div, bring in another div again. Really don't know what is wrong with my autocomplete today. I just have to manually type everything by hand. So say class, and this will be flex. Items will be center. Justify will be between. Then the medium devices and up. Margin bottom will be 6. And medium devices and up, which will be 4. Then inside this div, we'll bring in an h3 like so. And let's just pass in the booking.room.name. Then for the class, be text 200 and font 600. Alright, before I save, it's throwing an error, so let's just quickly add question mark right here. So that's gone. So we can save again. As you can see, we have the name. Alright, we are cooking. So the next thing to do is to add the ID. Is it the ID? I think it's the ID. So underneath this one, or rather underneath the h3, we just say put this inside a span tag. Then I will say span. This will have a class text primary, and font will be 600. Then the ID will be the booking.reservation ID. Then outside this div, bringing on a new div again. So we say div like so, and this will have a class of absolute. Top will be 4, left will be 4. Add a flex to it. Rounded will be extra large. Give it a background of white. Add a padding around it. Then on medium devices and up, we set it back to static, and medium devices and up, margin bottom will be 6. Make the background to be transparent, and lastly we'll get rid of the padding. Then inside this div, we'll bring in another div like so. And for this one, we give it a class. I'll set to flex and add a gap of 2. Then we'll pass in the calendar icon. So say calendar icon. Then the size should be, let's just do 20. And for the color, let's just get rid of the color. Then the date itself will be the booking.check-in. And let me import the calendar icon from Lucid icon, and let's just save and let's see what we have. All right, so the date is coming in, but I don't like how it is formatted. So what we do is that maybe I'll go to the utils full file and we'll create an EPA function that for us to format the date. So let me call this export host format date, and this will take an iOS string. So this will be iOS string. Then we just make this to be a type of string. Then we just create a new date instance. So say date, I'll say new date, like so. Then we'll pass in the iOS string. So what we have to do is to return the date dot to local date string, and this accepts 2 arguments. So we just say, let me just accept this. So for change the format, I will say yeah, this will be numeric, this will be months, and this will be short, and this will be day, which will leave as numeric. So what we need to do is to go back and grab this and put it inside the format dates, like so. So make sure it's like this, and let's try and import it like so. So it's telling us to import it from the date function, but this is not the one we need, so we just need our custom one. So I guess I'll have to come here and do it myself again. So we say import format date from libutils. So at lib@utils, and it's as if I spelled it wrong. Okay, so I was the one that spelled it wrong here. So we can go back now, and all right, so it's undefined, so we can just add an empty string right here. So if the date is not available, just pass in an empty string. Okay, so if we check back now, you can see now we're getting a well formatted date. So July 30th, 2025. So it seems we're still getting TypeScript errors. So the best thing that we do, since we know that the date will be, the checking date is always set, I'll just add this exclamation mark, so that gets rid of it once and for all. So so under this div now, add an arrow right icon, and I will add a class name and set this to mx4, and I'll import the arrow right. Then make sure you close the string like so. Then underneath this, we'll repeat the same process. So I'll just copy this one and put it here, but this will be check out. Then underneath this, we'll create another div. So say div like so, and we give this a class of flex items will be center, justify will be between. And right here, you just want to pass the price. So this will be in a p tag, and this will have a styling of text large, font bold. Then let's just pass in the price. We'll pass in the actual value right away. Let me just accept this as it is. And again, while we are here, let's also just change this one to a p tag. I think it's more better rather than us using div everywhere. So we just put this inside the p tag. So we can go back now, and you can see the price of $200. So you can also format the price as well. So the way we did for date, you can do for price. Maybe on the finished version, if you hit on the first link, I will do that later on and add that. So underneath this, we need to add a badge right here, and that badge will basically signify or confirm the status of that particular booking. So we'll put this inside the span like so. And this will have class of inline block. Rounded will be 4, which is round. Add a px of 3, a py of 1. Text will be small. Then fonts will be medium, like so. Then inside this, we just want to bring the status. So we can just say booking status. So if we check back, you can see the status here. So let's just make this capitalized. So we say capitalize, and this should not be uppercase. All right, so the last thing we want to do is we want to just color code this like a normal tag. I think you can also use the badge component from ChatCN, but I've already started this like this, so let's just run with it. So in order for us to add the different colors for the different status, we just need to make this dynamic. So this will be curly brackets, and I will do the same for this as well. So should be like so. Then after this medium, we just use the $sign and open a new bracket, and inside this we just want to check the various statuses. So I guess I will just accept all these ones because I think they are okay. So let's just say if it's confirmed, it should be BG green 100, and text green should be 100. So I'll just I'll duplicate this one and get rid of this two. Then if it's pending, this should be yellow, and this should be yellow as well. So say yellow. Then let's also add for cancel check-in checkout. So if it's cancelled, this will be red, and this will be red. So if it's checked in, this will be blue, and this will be blue. And lastly, if it is checked out, this will be gray, and this will be gray. And else we just pass in an empty string here. And I think we are having some TS issues. Okay, so the type is not the same. This should be checked in like so, and this one should be checked out. So we can save now, and let's see how it looks. So the color is not contrasting well. Let's make this a bigger number. So let me just use 800 all around. Okay, I think this 800 is much better. It should be 800. All right, so it's now looking much better. And if we change the confirmation status on our Sanity Studio, it should reflect the next color. So let's just test if that user is checked in. All right, so we can just scroll down, and this will be checked in. I'll publish this. So all we just have to do is to refresh the page. I see the color change. So let's do one more, and let's do checked out, cancelled. But if we do cancelled, watch what is going to happen. And if we refresh now, see that we'll have no bookings, because remember that And the query, what we're querying for is this. So basically, if the room is cancelled, we don't want to even display the room at all. So let's just do pending. So if we refresh now, it should be pending. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to create the details page for this booking.